All right, let's dive into a really powerful manual therapy called muscle energy technique, or MET for short. It's a fascinating way to deal with all sorts of muscle issues. And by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly how it works to unlock your body's potential.
Okay, let's start with a problem that I'm sure pretty much everyone has faced. You know what I'm talking about. That one stubborn spot, that unstretchable knot. You know the one, that tight spot in your shoulder, or maybe that hamstring that just feels like a steel cable. You stretch it, you try to massage it, but it just snaps right back to being tight. It's so frustrating, right? Well, what if the solution isn't to just pull harder, but to actually work smarter? And that's where this technique comes in. The answer to that stubborn knot might just be your body's very own secret weapon, a technique that turns your own muscle power into a tool for release. Okay, let's really look at this definition. The key words here are voluntary muscle contraction. This is the part that changes everything. It's not something that's just done to you. MET is a therapy where you are an active participant, using your own strength in a super precise, controlled way to get a release.
And that really gets to the core of it. Think about a deep tissue massage. That's a passive technique where the therapist does all the work on you. But with MET, it's a partnership. You and your therapist become a team, working together to solve the problem. It's a small shift, but it's incredibly powerful. And listen, this isn't some new fad. MET has been around for a long time, first described way back in 1948. And over the decades, it's become this trusted, essential tool for physical therapists, osteopaths, and top-tier sports rehab specialists. It has stood the test of time for one very simple reason. It just plain works.
So, how does it actually work? I mean, when you experience it, it can feel like a little bit of magic, but it's really grounded in some very clever neurophysiology. So, let's get into the science behind the release.
Probably the best way to think about it is that your nervous system has these two built-in safety features, or release buttons. MET is a technique that's designed specifically to press these buttons at just the right moment to convince a muscle that it's okay to let go. Okay, so the first release button is a principle called post-isometric relaxation. I know, it's a mouthful. Here's how it works. You gently contract a muscle against a force so that it doesn't actually move. That's the isometric part. When you do that, you activate this tiny sensor in your tendon called the Golgi tendon organ. Its main job is to protect the muscle from tearing itself. So right after you stop contracting, that little sensor sends a signal to your muscle that's basically saying, okay, false alarm, you can stand down now. This creates this brief window, just a few seconds, of deep relaxation. And that's when the therapist can ease the muscle into a new, longer range of motion without any resistance. Now, the second release button works on a super simple principle that you can see all over the body. Our muscles work in pairs. It's kind of like a seesaw. This principle is called reciprocal inhibition. And the idea is when one muscle is working, we call that the agonist, its partner muscle on the other side, the antagonist, automatically gets a signal to relax. It has to, otherwise you couldn't move. So to release a really tight hamstring, a therapist can have you gently contract your quad muscle on the front of your thigh. Just the act of firing up that quad sends an automatic signal through your spinal cord telling the hamstring to chill out, which makes it way easier to stretch. It's like using a backdoor command to get the muscle to relax. So that's the science behind it. Pretty cool, right? But what does this actually look and feel like in a real session? Let's talk about MET in the real world. First off, and this is so important, when we say muscle contraction, we are not talking about a huge effort, like you're lifting a heavy weight. We're talking about a super light 10 to 20% effort. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. MET is all about finesse and communicating with your nervous system. It's not about brute force. And here's the typical flow of what happens. First, the therapist will gently move you to the very first hint of tightness. That's what they call the barrier. Then it's your turn. You'll give that gentle push against them for about 5 to 10 seconds. Then you'll take a big breath in, and as you breathe out, you relax completely. And in that exact moment of relaxation, the therapist gently takes up the slack, moving you to a new, deeper barrier. You just repeat this cycle a few times, and it's pretty amazing how much progress you can make without any pain. So where is this used? Oh, all over the body. It's great for the really common complaints like chronically tight hamstrings or that awful upper back and neck tension we all get. But it's also used for more complex things, like improving mobility in the low back and pelvis, or even helping restore motion after a surgery. It can even help with certain types of tension headaches that come from tight neck muscles. Its versatility is a huge reason why it's so popular.
Now, this all sounds pretty great, but it's really important to know when it's the right tool for the job and when it's not. So let's ask that question. Is MHOT right for you?
Let's break it down. MAT absolutely shines with those chronic nagging issues. You know, the long-term muscle tightness, postural problems, that mechanical low back pain where everything just feels guarded and stiff. On the flip side, any good therapist knows you have to be cautious or avoid it completely in acute situations. We're talking a recent fracture, severe pain, an open wound, or if a joint is unstable. It's a powerful tool for sure, but like any tool, it has to be used in the right context.
So, what are the big takeaways here, the key advantages? Well, first, it's remarkably safe and gentle. Second, you are an active participant, which is so empowering. It really makes you part of your own recovery. And beyond just improving your range of motion, that gentle muscle pumping also helps improve local circulation. All of this combined leads to really high patient satisfaction and honestly, fantastic results.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought. You know, in a world that often tells us to just push harder, to force our way through pain and barriers, MET offers a totally different perspective. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, the real key to unlocking movement and releasing tension isn't about applying more external force, but about learning how to have a smarter, more cooperative conversation with our own bodies. It's a powerful idea and definitely something worth thinking about.